You guys hear the news about rainbow capitalism? Remember I said for like years and years and years that rainbow capitalism, corporations being progressive, had basically nothing to do with the actual political positions of the people on top of the corporations? Which is why it was always really funny that conservatives would be screaming about how like the entire world is owned by wokeness or whatever, when in reality it's just a bunch of soulless ghouls running the numbers on a spreadsheet. And like if they find it's 0.8% more profitable to pretend to be progressive, they'll do that. This one, I will say, it does surprise me. Alphabet, you're not sending your best. Google Calendar erases Black History Month, Pride Month, Holocaust Remembrance Day, amid a few others. Indigenous Peoples Month, Jewish Remembrance Day, I think, from the calendar. They got rid of all the dang woke holidays. Now we won't know when it's time for wokeness. That's anti-Semitic on Google's part. You know what? Yeah. That is true. That is correct. Yeah, it's pretty tough to argue against that point, you know? Yeah, Hispanic Heritage Month, Jewish Heritage Month, Indigenous People Month, Holocaust Remembrance Day. Right. Incredible stuff. And the crazy thing is, Trump didn't even ask them to do this. This is them kowtowing to the regime preemptively. Like this is happening without any direct prompting. This isn't like a executive order. Now we will no longer have identity-based holidays or something. They're just desperately like, it's not even good for business. Was there anyone on Earth, I mean, literally any human being alive, I'm not being facetious, I'm actually referring to all humans alive, who didn't use Google services or Alphabet services because Google Calendar had these holidays listed? I genuinely don't know. But by removing them, you create so much backlash. Like the removal of them is far more of an event than their inclusion. No one cared that they were there. You know? Even the New York Post isn't really commenting on this positively. The New York Post, of course, being a fascist rag. I don't know what the hell they even... So Vosh, is this removing them from the default holiday set or from the entire... From the default holiday set? Normally, like, I don't really use Google Calendar, but you open it up and you see, like, oh, today's 4th of July or whatever. Like, you can see... The funniest thing to me, I don't know if it says in this article, where does it say it? The funniest thing to me is that their provided explanation for the removal of all these events from Google Calendar was that the previous calendar process was, quote, unsustainable. Like, yeah, we here at Google, we manage the the upload of like 18 terabytes of new data every millisecond. And but having like multiple overlapping days and months in the calendar, it's just not really. What does that even mean? It means they're cowards. They're removing it to like preemptively kowtow to this administration's desire to remove wokeness. But like, really, Holocaust Remembrance Day, dude. Like, this isn't even a matter of appealing to Nazis. Nazis weren't refraining from using Google because Holocaust Remembrance Day was acknowledged by the app. Like, it seems senseless. It's a total cultural loss, but they gain nothing by removing it. It's just nonsense. Google Maps shows Gulf of America now. Well, to be fair, like, they were always going to use America's like legal acknowledgement of the name, you know? Like that's more expected to me. At least that was following an executive order. This just nothing. It could have been a private threat or something. I don't think so. I don't think so. Really? The Trump administration, the Israel glazing Trump administration, like remove the Holocaust Remembrance Day? I genuinely just think that right now the oligarchs are in a competition to curry favor and kiss ass to end up being the one on top. Like right now, the top oligarch easily, Elon Musk. Elon Musk owns Twitter privately, can do whatever he wants with it, has tens of billions of dollars in contracts with the DoD, and has like the right hand of the presidency, if not the presidency itself, basically. Now, as for these other tech oligarchs, we'll talk about like Sam Altman, for example, later on, like with his beef with Elon Musk. But my guess is like all of them are already billionaires, but who gets to be the first trillionaire? It's very important competition, Humanity depends on finding a solution to this one, We need an answer. I think they're fighting over that. It's kind of like how, forgive me for doing the historical allegory again, but like, how under feudalism, the nobility and the serfs are in two completely separate classes with separate interests, and the nobility overwhelmingly act in the interest of the nobility. Like the nobility as a group are constantly reaffirming their own power. But then you get into the nobility and they're all fighting with each other too. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, don't mistake class consciousness and class solidarity for cooperation within that class. You know? So I think that's what we're seeing. It's kind of like a desperate effort to kowtow and capitulate and try to, be the one who comes out on top. That being said, this is a particularly pathetic gesture in that direction. The update was confirmed by a Google spokesperson to The Verge, which first reported the change. The spokesperson said the calendar team had manually been adding what they described as a broader set of cultural moments in a wide number of countries around the world. The spokesperson said that maintaining this consistently on a global scale wasn't sustainable. You're Google. This could be managed by a single hobbyist with a spreadsheet. You are Google. This is a pathetic justification. Google donated $1 million to the inauguration fund, Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. They have databases of Google to that. It is Google. It's honestly kind of insulting they didn't come up with a better argument than this, How big of an institution could you possibly need to manage multiple overlapping days of remembrance, acknowledgement, holiday in different countries over 365 days a year? I think they got it. Anyway, nobody has been covering this positively. This has only been covered negatively. There are no conservatives that I have seen really gloating about this. I'm sure you can find some if you go looking. You can find, the N Wokeness Twitter account screeching about how, finally, we no longer have to remember the Holocaust or whatever. I don't know. I think this would be a good point to remember. However, I think it's important to reaffirm this because this is kind of going to become, more relevant with time. Pride Month happens whether or not they say it does. The legitimacy of these events is given by the public thought and public conscious, not by the government, corporations, whatever else. Because they're going to keep doing this, right? They're going to say, oh, it's Pride Month. Oh, it's this Remembrance Day, whatever. They can say those things aren't happening all they want. It doesn't change the fact that they're happening. Yeah, there's going to be less corporate rainbows this year, but you know what? Macy's, Lockheed Martin, and the cops who show up at Pride every year anyway. They were never really allies. They were just there to flex while they were, in the cultural zeitgeist. Pride will happen anyway. It was happening back when cops were enforcing anti-sodomy laws and busting down into gay bars, on the weekly and arresting people for wearing, I don't know, assless chaps or whatever. I don't know, the 80s gay men. I'm sure they were on some crazy shit you people would be upset at if you thought about, You modern homosexuals, you pussies, you would have been right there with the cops. I see you Gen Z queer people busting into a gay bar. You see a 19-year-old and a 23-year-old, and you're like, officers, that's a problematic age gap. And then they both get dragged into the alley and beaten. Nah, f you. No, I'm not doing this. I'm not. Look, okay. I'm not doing this. Okay, I'm just saying, all of this happens whether or not the corpos or the government acknowledges it. So just keep that in mind. Okay, no one cancels anything in every city that's worth a damn. Sorry if your city is not worth a damn. I can't help you with that. There's still going to be pride events. There's still going to be everything. Everything's still going to happen. Okay, and the people who are running the show. I mean, the show for the being gay, not the show like the government, who run the gay show, are going to be more motivated than ever. All right. So make sure, be a part of that. Yeah, the gay show. How gay people describe themselves in the 80s, but you guys don't care. I can't read this out loud. People in chat would get scared. Well, f them, I guess. Read it anyway? Yeah, I guess that's fair. Neo-pronouns and xenogenders genuinely embarrass the LGBT community and leave us looking like fools to everyone. The respectability assimilationists. If only we could get rid of the 19-year-old Tumblrite doll gender individuals, then billions of homophobes would simply cast off the shroud, and the acceptance would be, it would be universal. Then surely. And then was, this is how queers in the 80s describe themselves, but you guys don't care. The of androgyny, I get called sir more than ma'am, despite the sizable mammary glands protruding from my chest. The hair on my head is the shortest found on my body, a gentle societal mind, if you will. Transgender dyke, submissive pervert, percussion fetishist, brassy woman, happen to be born with a penis, two-spirit, mixed blood, transgender, da-da-da-da-da. The lesson here being, of course, the gay people have always been embarrassing. You can't let that stop you, okay? That's why it's called pride. Yeah, it's a deliberate rejection of what you should be feeling, which is shame. I think it's awesome, actually. I'm not hating. I'm right here.